The Wuhan virus, it's going to kill all of us. Not really. The Wuhan virus, just when you hear those words, hear the real words, the truthful words. And it is the financial collapse of the economy of the United States. And this virus is cover to make it happen in the gentlest way in the United States. This is the fourth and last video in the series of the collapse of the economy in the United States, shown to us by transiting Uranus through the constellation sign Taurus. The last time Uranus entered that constellation sign was in 1935, from 1935 to 1942. Remember what was happening in this country during those 7 years? Well, it's back, only it's manifesting differently, but it is another sovereign debt crisis, as it was from 1935 to 1942. You didn't know that, did you? It was actual sovereign credit meltdown, a collapse of the economy. So it's back. So we'll be talking about that, and I'll be showing you overwhelming information about what this collapse looks like and feels like, because this is a sea change, and this happens probably once in a person's lifetime. If you're fortunate, it happens once in a person's lifetime. But every time that planet Uranus enters the constellation sign Taurus, it means financial, economic collapse globally. But we're just sticking with the United States right now because we don't have time to cover the whole world. Let me share the screen with you to give you a bit of background. Paranormal Talks, we are educational, and we fill the educational gap that is ignored, carefully and methodically ignored by our government, schools, and universities. It's a whole part of our life that is lacking, and that lack really hurts us financially, emotionally, throughout all of society, including our families. If you want to know more about me, just click on about us, and just scroll down and you can read about me. So let's take a look at this bad boy, Uranus. This is a symbol of the planet Uranus. There are many symbols of all the planets, and Uranus, this is it. It's a circle with a dot in the middle and an arrow attached and pointing up. In the first video, I talked a lot about what Uranus means, and I talked a lot about what the constellation sign Taurus means. I'm not going to go over all that now, too much time, but Uranus is the planet of sudden, radical change. And in fact, the word destruction is far more accurate. Uranus destroys the status quo. It destroys the traditional. It destroys the old, familiar systems. And in this case, it's in the constellation sign Taurus. Taurus is the sign of the banker, the sign of the financier, the sign of the money maker, the money changer, money transaction. It is a sign of gold, jewels, silver, copper, all the metals from the earth. That's the constellation sign Taurus. So you have the planet of radical destruction, sudden radical destruction, going through the constellation sign of the banker. Well, we're feeling it now. This is what it looks like when those two get together and have their way with us. By the way, it will last until June of 2026. And that's pretty precise. June 1st, 2026 to be precise, because what good is a prediction unless it's accurate and as precise as possible? This helps us plan our lives and helps us prepare psychologically and emotionally. You know, these cycles come up regularly, and people who are conscious and awake take advantage of them. They know it's happened before, they know it's coming, and they can prepare. And the Trump administration has done that. They have prepared for years and years and years for this. They knew it was coming down. But the virus is brilliant cover to, as gently as possible, break our fall, to make our landing as damage-free as possible. No other administration has done this for us little people. Another financial hiccup happened due to another planet that changed signs. This was the planet Pluto, which is even scarier. I don't want to talk about that right now, but that hit us in the year 2008, and that administration did not take care of any of us little people. Did it? No. We all lost our jobs and our houses and our life almost. So that's Uranus. So let's look at some articles of how this is manifesting and coming about. Here we go. Now, we talked in the previous videos about the Federal Reserve and the IRS, both of which are going away. That's what Uranus does. It destroys the old systems, and those are them. And you're seeing that in play. But here we are with the U.S. Department of Treasury. Let's look at that. Now, together, the Treasury and the Federal Reserve together expand measures to enhance liquidity and flow of credit to American workers, households, and businesses. Go figure. It's about time. Instead of measures and liquidity flow to bail out the banks again, Wall Street and the global banks in Germany and England and Switzerland and all the other countries. Now, this was published March 23rd, 2020, this article. The spread of the virus, again, that's code word for the spread of the financial contagion, the financial meltdown, has disrupted economic activity and put significant liquidity pressure on U.S. businesses. To immediately enhance liquidity and support American workers, households, and businesses through this challenging period, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin today authorized the expansion of 2 recently launched facilities and the establishment of 3 new facilities to provide liquidity to the financial system pursuant to section blah, 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 the Federal Reserve Act. So, there's 2 headings here only, even though they mention 2, but oh yeah, they're down below. Expansion of the money market mutual fund liquidity facility and commercial paper funding facility, which is illegal. I mean, the Federal Reserve shouldn't be doing these programs, but okay, so Mnuchin is involved in that. And then the establishment of new facilities to support the flow of credit to American workers, households, and businesses. 3 bullet points here. The term asset-backed security loan facility, under which the Federal Reserve Bank of New York will provide loans to U.S. companies that are currently by certain eligible consumers and small business asset-backed securities, such as, it goes on and on. Next, the primary, boy, that's a long sentence. The primary market corporate credit facility, under which the Federal Reserve Bank of New York will provide liquidity to U.S. financial and non-financial businesses by providing loan and bond financing to U.S. companies with investment-grade debt ratings. Now, this is interesting because this was originally the purpose of the Federal Reserve when it was founded in 1913. This was the Federal Reserve's job to provide liquidity to financial and non-financial, well, not financial, but non-financial businesses by providing loans and bond financing. Interesting. So the Bank of New York is doing that now, not the Federal Reserve, not the central bank. The secondary market corporate credit facility, under which the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, that's a very active bank right now, will purchase in the secondary market bonds issued by U.S. companies with investment grade ratings. Very good, very nice. Good article. It's good to have under your belt. So changes are coming, and they are in the economy. You notice I'm not pulling up a lot of articles about dead people being killed by the viruses. That's just not really there. But this financial stuff, it is solid. There are details wrapped around this because that is what this is. The virus is code word for the financial collapse of the United States. Now I want to show you a YouTube channel that's quite excellent. It's very thorough and methodical, going through what is happening to us financially. It is Santa Surfing Beach Broadcast. It's from Hawaii, and Santa is in Hawaii in between his sleigh rides, delivering presents. So he's in Hawaii and he likes to surf when he's in Hawaii. So it's kind of a cute title for this YouTube channel, Santa Surfing Beach Broadcast. So she has a series of these. Nasara, this is it's a national economic financial act. And she's been focusing on that. And a lot of things seem to be implemented from this act, this financial act, this national financial act. So here's part 10. She has, of course, part 1 through 9, and here's part 10. And the title of this is, sure enough, The Death of the Federal Reserve. And this is proof. And this was published March 28th, 2020. Let's listen to, we're going to drill down through that video and listen to just a bit of some of the information and data that she's pulled. So I'm going to stop sharing here so we can get the audio for this video.
He who has the gold makes the rules. Yes. So he knew back then. President Trump, as president, January 29th, 2019, he tweeted, "Our economy right now is the gold standard throughout the world." Huge message. He's saying gold standard is in play. Q 2619, about a month before he posted that tweet, an anon asked, "Do we have the gold?" Q answers, "Yes, gold shall destroy the Fed." Why I like showing Q posts, especially now, is because we're not just sharing about what we think the post is about, like many of us anons have been doing. We're actually sharing the results of Q and what's going on. So these are definite Q proofs. Now, the second part of that Q3904 post that I got was, this is not another four-year election. When I was doing some research, Nasara does change everything, including our government and the structure and the elections and how that's done. So under Nasara, it is our government and how our elections will be is going to be very constitutional. People are saying, well, what does that mean? It's a republic, form of government in which power is explicitly invested in the people who, in turn, exercise their power through elected representatives.
So that's more proof of Uranus going through Taurus, the sign of the banker, and how our country, our world is rearranging itself around money, around finances, resources. Governments are tied to banks just like this. They always have been. By the way, governments always default on their loans. That is a matter of history, and there's probably only one country in the world in modern times that has ever paid back any amount of their loan. And I think that was Germany back in 1945. Anyway, all governments default on their loans, all governments on the whole planet. And that's what causes a Great Depression. So it was great to see a little bit of this. Go to Santa Surfing Beach Broadcast, that YouTube channel. She does a great job. I wanted to mention something about gold, though, and also an interview with Austin Q, who is QAnon. He does say that gold will destroy the Federal Reserve, and that's good since it's a criminal organization. The Federal Reserve, the central bank, haven't been doing their job. But Austin Q mentioned during his interview when they were talking about cryptocurrencies, that gold will not be brought back online as a metal that will back our currency, because we are going into space, and gold as a metal will not work in that economy, which is much faster. That's why we're moving to cryptocurrencies. And he mentioned in particular Ripple, that currency. That's a currency that has been developed by the banks, and looks like we'll be using that. So I wanted to make that mention about gold and cryptocurrency. So it is evolving, but for now we can use gold and take down the Federal Reserve with it. So thank you for listening to this last and final 5th video in the series of the financial collapse of the United States, with Uranus transiting through the constellation sign Taurus. So join us next time. It's always good to see you. It's always good to hear your comments, and it's always great to have new subscribers. Thank you very much. This is Paranormal Talks signing out, and we'll talk to you next time. This is JJ. Bye.